farm today. I don't know how the video is going to go, if it's going to be like a dramatic documentary or if it's just going to be like a quiet overlay. Not instructional, but like informational. Probably not. But yeah, it's like corn harvest 2024. So we're on the family farm today. It was established in 1907. Weird fact, they built the house out of rocks they picked out of the field that we're in, and it's been standing there ever since. I mean, it's slowly getting lower into the ground every year, but it's still there. Anyway, this is a case combine. Currently we have a Geringhoff 8-row head on it. That corn's grown on 30-inch rows. This is a Kinsey cart, holds about 1,000 bushel, maybe a little more if you really jam it in there. It's got tracks on it. Greatly reduces the compaction at the weight, because all the weight right now we're sitting at 37,000, but we'll get that heaped up to 55 to 60,000 pounds, and dragging that across the field back and forth, you'll end up with some pretty good compaction. If you know anything about gardening, compaction is not good for roots. They like nice soft soil to grow in. So we're trying to switch from deep tillage to a minimal till. 2 years ago, I believe, we switched over to doing strip tillage. So that machine just goes down the rows that you see. Right now it'll go in between and just dig up a nice little strip and make a seed bed about 2 inches deep. And that'll give the seeds a nice place to grow while leaving a lot of the soil structure, letting the worms and bugs and everything else and microbes live happily, and most importantly, not pick up new rocks. They're exclusively grain farmers around here. Corn, soybeans, a little bit of wheat. Occasionally we'll throw in some small square bales, but try to stick to just corn and soybeans. Over there is the on-site grain bins, 260,000 and 80,000 bushel, so we can store our own corn without having to go to town and wait in line. That is the biggest time saver in harvest that you can have, I believe. My cousin, who also works on the farm, he had to go to town, take a couple loads in, and waited in line for half an hour and was howling about it. And you get pretty used to coming home, no lines, fire up your own machine, run the corn in the bin, and off you go again. The biggest thing on the farm is efficiency, because that is not cheap, and that uses a lot of fuel. Something in the neighborhood of 20 gallons in 1 hour. Right now, this tractor is using 4.3 gallons per hour, and it only has a load of about 40%. So fuel adds up quick. Cost of machines are not cheap. The farm is ran by my uncles and my cousin. I show up, I wouldn't even say part-time. I just come out and drive the cart and basically get told that I'm doing it wrong. But anything I can do to help, which is usually to make things more of a pain and annoy them today and this week with this lovely camera here. Yeah, now we're at 54,000 and we're good and full, so we're gonna whip around, but not too sharp, because if you turn too sharp on an old set of tracks, you can peel out the lugs on the inside, track falls off, and then it's a whole thing. Ask me how I know. There is 125 calories per cup of corn. Welcome to Cooking in the Field with Backwoods Customs. We now have our oven thoroughly preheated. Let's just pop the door. We have our brats double wrapped in heavy duty tin foil. We'll place them in the preheated oven somewhere between 900 and 1200 degrees. Close the oven door. And we will warm the oven. Now it should only take 15 minutes. Acre of corn eliminates 8 tons of carbon dioxide from the air. Who else gets super excited if you can go straight and the emblem in the steering wheel is in the right spot? It's like a hermit crab came out of a shell. Crikey, that's a big one. Here we have the truck driver begging ever so nicely to try and come aboard the combine. He's tried everything. He's doing a strange stretch. Not sure what that's about. But as he continues to beg and plead, he inches closer and closer. He's going for it. My God, he's made it. Gonna have to cut me a break. I've been trapped in here for like 12 days now. I haven't talked to anybody else except for getting yelled at on the radio. So it's getting weird. Nom, 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 nom. How do bugs fly in the rain? Like, wow. I just don't get it. Yeah, for a little bit, but like sooner or later, they're gonna get hit, but they don't. Oh shit, my brats! Look at that. Perfect. Well, that one is anyway. Now enjoy.
That 15% car, you should make unloading the semi in under 4-minute video. That'll get you a lot of views.
Unloading a semi or loading?
Unloading.
1% of the corn grown in the United States is sweet corn. And I have my hands in probably 12% of that 1%, and another job. Now the key to dumping on the truck is you want to be 17.2 inches away. No more, no less. We will idle down, engage the power takeoff, open the trap door inside the cart, rev the engine up to 1700 RPMs. Make sure you're not spilling. Well, this has corn in it. Now you inch the tractor along very carefully, trying to get all the corn in and none of the corn out of the truck. So then when we start approaching the end like this, you have to be ready to close the trap door inside that doesn't let any more corn out. And there's quite the delay. And if you do it right, you empty out the auger just before you get to the end and it's full. And the combine's over there full and you boogie across the field without breaking your teeth out and go get another load. A bushel of corn can sweeten 400 cans of soda. The silk on the corn, which you probably know from sweet corn, is the hair-like pieces. What happens is all those silk are out at the end. Up at the top, the tassel, the fuzzy part when you drive around looking at a cornfield, the top pokey parts, that is called the tassel. The tassel falls off of that plant or another plant, falls down, lands on the silk, fertilizes, travels all the way down the inside of that silk and gets down to the kernel. So every kernel of corn has one of those pieces of silk. So if you get some sweet corn, because most people have seen that, and there is not a kernel in one spot, it's probably because there was a piece of damaged silk or something like that, and you did not get that kernel fertilized through the silk. He's already mildly annoyed with having the camera on today because I've been filming him and not doing my cart job. Let's see if we can annoy him some more. Do you know any weird facts about corn? One bushel of corn makes 2.7 to 2.8 gallons of ethanol and makes 18 pounds of distiller's grain, which my buddy up the road gets, feeds his cows. So we're making gas for the cars.
All your syrups and carbon dioxide and everything else.
I don't know. You would know. Yeah, so I wouldn't say all, but a lot of the corn that we grow goes to the ethanol plant up the road.
They've got it so efficient now that the ethanol is almost the byproduct.
That's not helpful to this line of statements. Yeah, I don't know how to come back from that. The cart guy got in the combine. This is what it feels like to be the king. I'm the king. Go do this, go do that. Where's the cart guy? I'm only half full, but where is he? How much longer till that cart guy gets over here? Where's my lunch? The power that comes from this seat is unbelievable. So let's go for a little tour around the cab of the old 8250 case combine here. Like I said earlier, 8-row head, corn's planted on 30-inch rows, and we've got about 3,000 buttons in here. By the time you figure in all the stuff on the touch screen there. This is your forward and reversing lever, and then you don't even need the rows. You just plow through it. Most of it will get in there. Grain tank's full. More than 90 million acres on Earth are dedicated to growing corn. Mixed reviews on that one. Alright, here we go with a rundown of the controls. You got forward, backward, head, up, down, tilt, left, right, reel for the bean head. You got shut off your auger cross shafts, auger turn on and off, just swing your auger in and out. Automation, or set speed, and GPS. There's a button on the back. If you hold that one, it changes what this button does. Over here we've got auger speed, automatic auger speed, head height 2. This will turn on your main cleaning unit, and then you got your header, forward and reversing. It takes approximately 680,000 gallons of water per acre to grow corn. Now if you really wanted to do some math, you could run that number at 680,000 times whatever I just said 12 seconds ago on how many acres of corn there is. It's a lot of water. And this is why an 8-row corn head is preferred over a 12-row, because we can bomb through the woods, not have to hook, unhook, drag a wagon back here, figure out how to get everything back and around. You just go. Get it done. Corn can increase the humidity of the local air temperature, humidity. It can increase the humidity level of corn air. Corn can increase the local weather humidity by 40%. You know the difference between a farmer and a welder, or a plumber, or a electrician, or a roofer, or any other trade? Any other trade will tell you that they don't know how to farm. So we'll do a little bag voiceover on how a combine works here. So first we have the corn head that comes down. There's stripping rolls that pull the stalk down through the bottom of the head, and hopefully gathering just the corn cob. Brings it back up between the dog houses here, drops the corn down in the center conveyor, or auger in this case, brings it over to the feeder house chain, where this little animation shows that corn and grain getting shoved up the chute, and then it goes into the bullet rotor. In there it gets beat up, pounded around, and separated. So you want the cob and the kernel and all the other husks to be separated inside the rotor cage that's on the top here, and the grain pan on the bottom, where the grain pan's just jumping back and forth. You can see the corn kernels just kind of jumping towards the back of the machine. Now we had to poke in at the combine with the combine at about half a mile an hour here so the camera could even see what's going on. As you can see, the kernels and all the other chaff starting to fall in down through and land on the grain pan. It gets slowly bounced back as it works its way towards the back of the machine. It ends up dropping onto the pre-sieves where some more separating happens, and these sieves is what separates the kernel from the corn cob, and the husk is a pretty cool shot here. You can just see how everything's jumping across, and the theory of the grain pan is that the grain that's heavier will stay towards the bottom and the chaff that's closer to the top is lighter, and that will help start the separator process. And then here we're back over the sieves. Again, we had to slow it down quite a bit to see anything. You can see the chaff starting to build up on the camera there, but now you got some corn kernels flying around in there, and they'll bounce around on these sieves, and they're like little fingers going backwards, so the corn should hit those little fingers and drop down in between, and where all this flying chaff in the air gets thrown out the back side of the machine, and that's where it gets separated. Now once it falls through that bottom, there's a couple more separators, and it'll go down into a clean grain elevator, where that brings it up into the top of the combine, and it'll start filling up the grain tank like we see here. And once that's full, you get
1 acre of corn can release 3,000 gallons of water into the air by translocation, evaporation, sweating, whatever you want to call it.
Once we're full, we got some lights on the cab. It beeps in the cab, starts screaming at you. If everything goes right, your cart guy pulls up next to you in time. We run the auger out, turn the auger cross shafts on, and we start unloading into the cart. This is a 1051 Kinsey grain cart. Holds a little over 1,000 bushel if you're getting brave or you got some wet corn and you can stack it up.
Always have an even number of rows all the way around the outside. Usually it's 16, and on average there's 800 kernels per cob of corn.
And once the cart's full, we boogie up to the truck, start filling the truck here. Having a CVT or a constant variable transmission tractor really helps the filling process, because you can just slowly inch forward instead of trying to slip the clutch.
Farming is the 10th most deadliest job, but here's a list of them. Logger workers is number 1. Farmers log a lot. Farmers roof. Roofers are number 2. Fishing and hunting, yeah, probably do that. Helper in construction and trades, yep, do that. Aircraft and flight engineers, some do, I don't. Driver and sales workers, truck drivers, farmers do all that. Refuse and material collectors, yeah, but not that way. Structural and steel workers, yeah, some of them weld stuff. Underground mining and machine operating, yeah, can do that. And miscellaneous agricultural workers. So yeah, 20 per 100,000 farmers die every year. That's a dangerous job. Leading cause of death in farmers, tractor rollovers. But pretty flat around here. Contact with objects and equipment. PTO shaft down there. Yep, that'll get you. Big tracks back there. That'll get you, because that leads you to the next one. Violence by other people or animals. That's interesting. I've heard a few people getting riled up, getting the tar kicked out of them by cows. Cows are dangerous. And falls, slips, and trips. Now once the truck is full, we boogie down the road and we bring it to our home-built grain platform, unloading auger shaft, slide out, whatever you want to call it here. Unload it from the truck, goes in this lower conveyor, I keep saying conveyor, this lower auger, brings it over to the main auger that takes it up into the wet bin there. And then once the corn's up in the wet bin, it goes in through the dryer.
So it shows you how much I'm around. 60, 60, and 70,000, but a 10,000 bushel wet bin. So I wasn't that far off. Anyway, ran some numbers and also asked questions, which you don't do around here. Haul almost exclusively to the ethanol plant. So then I ran some more numbers, and last year, roughly, they produced off of my family's farm now I forget. Pause 10 seconds. 560,000 gallons of ethanol was produced off of my family's farm last year. I'm not saying we're Greenpeace, but come on now. That's pretty impressive. So here's one you probably haven't thought about when you're meeting combines coming down the road or tractors. They take up the whole road, and we don't have good brakes. We have marginal steering. And the other thing is, make sure you're not stopping directly across from a mailbox, a road sign, a culvert, a ditch. If you're gonna pull over, and sometimes it's nice, sometimes we just want you to go by, but if you're gonna pull over, don't just stop in the road directly across from a mailbox or a road sign or something that we're gonna hit. You know, just something to be. Hold on, if there's any Case tractor lovers out there, lot less red guys than green, but we got some old ones here. Case 300. This is a VAIW. It was an industrial tractor, tug, geared super low for towing around stuff, I guess you'd say. 800-pound a piece cast iron fenders on the back. Old Case D, straight pipe for life. Case 530 triple range. Believe that's also a 530. Another VAIW. This was not an original military tug, but since Grandpa had two of them, we replicated it. They were used on aircraft carriers, and they have in World War II, when they were done with them and it was time to come home, drop them in first gear, off the edge of the carrier they went. So there's, I'm sure somebody knows, but I don't know how many of them are sitting on the bottom of the ocean somewhere. Case 200 standard, Case D, got the old W4 here. All of these have been running except that one, probably in the last 2 years, I bet.
Grandpa's Willie's Jeep. You'll notice his license plate here. I do not have enough gray hair yet to get away with that one, but drives it all over the place. But yeah, I guess if there is some red tractor lovers out there, we can go into the other sheds and dig into some oddballs. But I do have one more surprise for a Case fan. And for the piece of resistance, a original cast iron Old Abe was on top of all the Case dealerships, and then World War II hit and they started throwing them off the roof and turn them in for scrap metal. So there's not too many around, and I'll put this one condition up against anybody else's. My buddy's grandma painted this one way better than any Case Eagle has ever been painted. So yeah, that's a rare one that obviously gets kept a little better than some of the tractors out there. And then all the odd tools. We could also play a game of what's that for? For a good couple days in here.